各位小朋友，歡迎收睇我哋嘅英文錄影課程。
So the first thing about World War II then. So what do you know about wars already, John? What do you know? What happens to a country during the war or during wars? So what do you think? What happens to the country during wars?
Many people will die.
Yeah, so that's what would happen to the people. So that answers the second one. What happens to the people? So many people could die. Okay, what else? What kind of things happen to the country though?
The country will lose many money.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the country will, well, we say it would spend lots of money, wouldn't it? Or it could lose lots of money as well if it's unsuccessful in the war, if it's defeated. Yeah, and then so we talked about what happens to the people. So people could die. Is there anything else that could happen to people during wars?
There will be many people dying.
Mm-hmm.
And many people went to fight the other countries.
Yeah, and many people leave to go and fight the other countries. Yes, that's right. Yes, so they would go overseas to fight the other countries. And if we think about it, some of the consequences of war, if somebody's dropping bombs on your country, what could happen to your home?
The home is destroyed.
Yeah, that's right. So homes could be destroyed. People could lose their jobs or places of employment. And it might get more difficult for them to get food as well. So if you're fighting with a country from which you buy a lot of your food, then you're going to have difficulty getting that food, aren't you? They're not going to supply it anymore. But let's first look at some definitions. So what is war? Can you tell me, using this definition, what is a war? What does it say here? Hello? Oh, you were there. You were there.
It means that they have weapons like. Hello?
Oh, yes, I can hear you now. So I missed that. So what is a war? What is a war? What does it tell us here?
It is an armed battle between countries.
Yeah, it's an armed battle between countries. Well done. And like you just said a moment ago, armed means they have
Armed
weapons.
means they have weapons like guns.
Yeah, like guns. Or what is this in the picture? Do you know what this is called? This vehicle in the picture. Do you know what this is called?
Tank.
A tank. Yeah, well done.
Tank.
Excellent. Well done. Yes, it is a tank. So war can also be used to describe competition. So when we say two things are at war, sometimes it can mean that they're having an armed battle using weapons like guns. And other times it can mean that they're just having a competition. So for example, we could say the supermarkets are at war to see who gets the most customers. Now, they're not actually at war. They're not fighting with guns and weapons against each other, of course. It just means that they're in competition with each other. But we're looking, of course, at the first one. So can you make a sentence using one of these meanings? So you can choose whichever one you'd like. War being an armed battle between countries, or war being a competition between two sides, and make a sentence.
There is a war between the athletes.
Between the who?
The war is between the athletes.
Oh, between the athletes. I see. Yes. So the athletes are at war. Yes, you could say during the Olympics, which we just had, that the athletes were at war. Well done. So let's look first at the start of World War II. So what happened? Why did it start? Well, can you think of any reasons why countries may go to war? So can you think of any reasons, either from real life, any real life examples, or just any example or any reasons you can think of why a country would go to war?
Because of territories.
Yes, because of territories. And what do you mean when you say that?
They want their land to be bigger.
They want their land to be bigger. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So if they want more territory, they might go to war over these territories. Excellent. Any other reasons you can think of?
They want to have more money.
Yes, that's often a cause of wars. Yes, where countries want to have more money. And sometimes that means that they also want territories, or sometimes it means they want other things. So World War II was between two groups of countries, and it started in 1939. So can you tell me which countries were part of the Axis? Which countries were part of the group, the Axis?
Britain, France, Russia. Axis. Okay, Axis. Italy, Japan, and Germany.
Good, well done. And then the Allies, who was in the Allied forces?
Britain, France, Russia, China, and United States.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So these two competing sides, and the war started in 1939. Now, do you know who won the war in the end? Which side, the Allies or the Axis?
Allies.
The Allies. Yes, that's right. They did. But before they did win, there was a lot of fighting. So can you read this to me to tell me what happened? Okay, so what happened to start World War II? And then I'm going to ask you a question about it.
Pardon?
So can you read this to me? And then I'm going to ask you a question about it to see if you can remember it.
Okay. Germany wanted to rule Europe and to have more land and power. On September 1939, Germany invaded Poland. Poland was important to Britain and France, so they declared war on Germany.
Good, well done. So what did Germany want? What did Germany want? Why did it?
More land and power.
More land and power. Fantastic. Good stuff. And so let's look at this word to rule, because just like war, it can have two meanings. So the first meaning is a rule can be an instruction or instructions on how things should be done. So thinking about a game has rules, and those rules tell you what you need to do and what you're not allowed to do. But rule also has another meaning, and that is to control or have power over something. So, for example, in the UK, the Queen rules the country. So she is the head of state. She rules the country in the UK. Can you think of a sentence using the... make a sentence using the second type of rule?
The king, the ruler of a country rules the country.
A ruler of the country rules the country. Yes, well done. That's a good one. So now that you've made your own sentence, can you match the sentence to the meaning? Okay. So the first one, Germany wants to rule Europe. Is that the first meaning or the second? Yep, and one rule of the pool is not to dive. Is that the first or the second type? Yep, that's right. Yep, the first type. And then the third one, yes, well done, is that let's rule the world. So let's control everything in the world. Well done. And the man who was in charge of Nazi Germany, so the man who made this decision to try and rule Poland or rule Europe, was Adolf Hitler. Have you heard of Hitler before?
Yes.
Yeah, you have. So Hitler, he's a very distinguished man. You can often recognize him by his mustache and haircut. He was the leader of the Nazi Party or the National Socialist Party. So can you read this and answer the question? So within this context, what does the word superior mean? Okay, so read this paragraph. You can read it in your head if you would like. And then can you draw a circle around the meaning of superior in this context? Higher than somebody. Yes, that's right. Well done. Yes. So Nazi Germany believed in the concept of the master race, meaning that one race is superior or higher than another. And he believed that Germans were this master race. So Hitler believed that Germany was better than all the other races. And for this reason, the Germans should rule the world. So I mentioned the meaning just a second ago, but do you know what the word Nazi meant? This is a shortened version of something. Do you know what the word Nazi meant or means?
It is a actually no.
Not too sure? That's okay. So
I think it's just a name.
It is just a name, but it's a shortened version of a name. So it's a shortened version of a name. Do you know what the full name is?
No.
No? So, well, it means National Socialist. So Nazi is Na for national, Z for socialist. And this was the name of the party that Hitler belonged to. So his political party was called the National Socialist Party. But what happened in World War II? Well, first of all, lots of people died. Do you think there is ever an advantage to killing people during a war? Do you think there's ever an advantage? No. No, I would agree with you. I always think it's terrible to kill people during a war, even if they're soldiers on the other side. And in World War II, there was a particularly bad event called the Holocaust. And I'm not sure if you've heard of this event before, but this is an event during which many millions of people died. Can you read this passage out loud? And then I'm going to ask you some questions about it.
Jews are people from the Middle East, and there was a lot of them in Europe during the World War II. Hitler blamed the Jews about Germany losing World War I and decided to kill all the Jews. 6 million Jews were killed by Nazi Germany, and this event was called the Holocaust.
Yeah, so my question for you is why? Why did Hitler decide to kill 6 million people or 6 million Jews? Why did he decide to do this?
Because he blamed the Jews about Germany losing World War I.
Absolutely, yeah. So he blamed the Jews for losing World War I because after World War I, Germany had become very, very weak as a country, and it had become very difficult for the people of Germany. Prices, there was a lot of inflation, which is when the currency doesn't have very much value. There were food shortages, there were unstable governments, and it was very difficult. There wasn't very many jobs to do, lots of unemployment. So it was very difficult to live in Germany after World War I, and this made a lot of people very angry. And so along came Hitler, and he told them and that it was all the Jews' fault, and he then persecuted or killed a lot of Jewish people for this reason. But there were some very famous Jewish people that lived during this time who are famous because of their suffering. Have you ever heard of this girl here, Anne Frank? Have you ever heard of it? You have. So what do you know about Anne Frank? What do you know about her?
I only know about her book, the diary.
Yes, her diary. And what is her diary about? Why is it special? What does it tell us about?
It is about her life while she was hiding from Nazi Germans during World War II.
Yes, well done. Absolutely. Yeah. So this is the diary of Anne Frank, and it's all while she was hiding in an attic from the Nazis. So she and her Jewish family were hiding so they wouldn't be taken away to one of the camps where a lot of Jewish people were killed. Now, America weren't always in the war. They weren't there. The war started in 1939, but the Americans didn't join until at least 3 years later. Can you tell me why did the Americans join the war? And this slide gives you a pretty good clue. So why did the Americans join the war?
Because the Japanese bombed on an American base on Pearl Harbor.
Absolutely. So they bombed an American naval base called Pearl Harbor. And before this, the Americans, they had lots of soldiers, they had lots of ships and planes, but they weren't actually doing anything in the war. They were just watching. And after the Japanese did this, the Americans joined the war. And that was a really important turning point. Up until this point, the countries in Europe had been fighting for a really long time, 3 years at least, and they were running out of money and they were running out of other resources. And it looked like the Allies might lose the war until America joined them. But America also ended the war, and it ended the war by doing something terrible. Can you tell me from this slide, what terrible thing did America do to end the war?
4 years later, America dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan on August 1945. The bombings took almost 225,000 lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well done. So the Americans dropped atomic bombs on Japan. They dropped 2, one at Hiroshima and one at Nagasaki. And it killed almost 250,000 people. So it killed almost 250,000 people, or sorry, almost 225,000 people, which is just less than 250,000. But let's see if you can make some sentences about this event. So the first one, can you use the word exploded, starting with Anne and using the word exploded?
An atomic bomb exploded.
Good. And the next one? So this next one makes it a little bit longer. You've got to describe what the smoke looked like, and the picture can help you. So what would you say for the second one?
An atomic bomb exploded. The smoke made a mushroom after.
Yeah, well done. And you can see that in the picture. It does look a little bit like a mushroom, doesn't it? And then the fourth one, using the word exploded.
Third one.
Yeah, so the third one. You want to use the word exploded, talk about the shape, and also include where this happened. So you can say what country, or if you remember one of the cities, you can use that.
An atomic bomb exploded in Hiroshima. The smoke made a mushroom after.
Good, well done, fantastic. And the last thing, let's see if you can add in when this happened. So let's see if you can remember when it happened.
In August 1945, an atomic bomb exploded in Hiroshima. The smoke made a mushroom cloud after.
Good, well done. That's excellent. And you remembered. I'm very impressed that you remembered the dates. And so that was how World War II ended. But how do you think other wars or wars in general, how do these end? So wars in general.
Like
what are some things that can happen to end wars?
Aside like a side surrender.
Yeah, side surrenders, and you can see that in the picture here. They're waving some white flags, aren't they? So yeah, so a side can surrender. Yep. Any other ways that you can think of? So one side says, I give up, I surrender. Any other ways that wars can end?
When a country wins.
Yeah, and why would it win? How would it win? What would happen to the other side? They don't
Like
give up, but they are...
Yeah. But they are like... they are like... They can't...
Yeah, they can't.
They can't revolt.
Yeah, so they can't revolt or they can't continue. So maybe they run out of money or they run out of people. Too many people die. Or they run out of supplies. They can't get any more weapons. They can't get any more food to their soldiers. So these are all different ways. So we've learned what happened to Japan. So America dropped bombs on Japan beginning the end of World War II. But the Germans were also fighting in World War II. So what happened? What happened with the Germans and with the Japanese? What happened? Were they defeated? Did they run out of money? Did they run out of people or supplies? Or what happened? How did it end? Or did they give up and surrender? What do you think happened?
They give up and surrender.
Yeah, that's right. Well done. So the Germans surrendered. They surrendered in May and the Japanese later that year in August because of the atomic bombs that were dropped on them. And because of this, World War II came to an end. But even though it came to an end, it was still the deadliest war that's ever happened. Still the deadliest war. 85 million people died, which is more than the entire population of the UK, which is the country that I live in. So in my country, there's about 75 million people. So 10 million people more than the population of the UK died in this conflict, in this war. So what do you think? Would you ever want a war to happen again? Can you think of any good reasons why a war may happen in the future? Why or why not?
I don't want a war to happen again because our weapons are stronger and it will kill more people and destroy more countries.
Yeah, that's a very good reason, actually, that you mentioned there that weapons these days are a lot stronger. So they're a lot more dangerous. the atomic bomb was developed during World War II, and when they dropped it, it killed that 225,000 people. If we had a war now that was a world war, lots of countries have atomic bombs and lots of countries could drop these, killing many, many people. Absolutely. So let's do our activity. Now, it's almost 25 past, but because my tech didn't work in the last lesson, we'll go a few minutes over. So we'll go 1 or 2 minutes longer in this one, just because to make up the time from the other lesson. So what do you think Nazi Germany did? Can you tell me or circle which ones you think Nazi Germany did?
Like they killed the Druze. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
With Japan, started with World War II.
Yep. Any others, or is that it?
No.
Yeah, that's right. Well done. Fantastic. So yes, they killed the Jews. They were in a group with Japan. Do you remember what that group was called? Was it the Allies or the Axis?
Like it's the Axis.
Yeah, that's right. Well done. And they started World War II. Absolutely right. And let's see if you can find any of these words in this word search. So I'm just going to give you only 3 minutes to try and find as many words as you can. Oh, well done. You've got access already. I remember you were very good at this word search before. So well done. You've got Allies and Axis. So I'll give you a clue. One starts around about here.
Okay.
And just 1 minute left. Let's see if you can find another one before we finish.
I don't think so.
You might want to also look around here. There's another one. Yeah, well done. You've got Japan. Fantastic. And then that other one that I was saying is the atomic bomb, which was here. So we'll mark that one off as well. But that's all we've got time for today, John. That's the end of the lesson. So well done. I hope you enjoyed learning about World War II. And when I see you on Thursday, we will learn about the body and specifically the brain. Okay, so we'll learn all about the brain. So I'll see you then.
I think we will see tomorrow.
Yes, that's right. We do have a lesson tomorrow. We have our interview lesson tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will see you tomorrow for the interview lesson then. Okay. Bye, John. See you then. Bye.